What a disaster this game was. It's hard for me to even begin to explain how terrible the Saints looked. It's hard for me to even explain how terrible this team played and how just abysmal Drew Brees was. This stat line could not be more fake. This stat line might as well be a Kardashian. 26 for 38, 312 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. No. I tell you no. This was the same shit the whole game. It was dump passes. Drew Brees was missing wide open people. The pick was terrible. The Saints are in some real trouble. The window is closed. I'll tell you that. The window is closed for New Orleans. This a Super Bowl team. This team sucks. Alvin Kamara was good. Alvin Kamara was really good this game. 13 carries, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 9 receptions, 95 yards in the air. And yes, they were missing Michael Thomas. But this team, I don't even know where to start with this team. Drew Brees is an issue right now. Drew Brees has completed 1 pass for more than 20 yards in the first 2 games. If Drew Brees can't throw the ball more than 8 yards, we're in some trouble. There is not a doubt in my mind I could have done what Drew Brees did last night. I could have played that game. I would have had 26 completions with 38 attempts and 312 yards because I can throw the ball 6 yards to a scat back. I can throw the ball 3 yards to a tight end. I can do that. We don't need Drew Brees to be doing that. We don't need Sean Payton to be doing that. With 30 seconds left, down 10, they were throwing 6-yard out routes. I have never seen, you talk about a team completely flipping its identity. The Saints with this high-powered offense, creative offense, it does all kind of stuff. And what the hell did we see? We saw a Madden playbook where the only play in the whole damn playbook was slants and mesh. And if you ever play Madden, you know what mesh is. It was the same play for 3 hours. And this is something else I don't get with Sean Payton. Taysom Hill is available. You paid Taysom Hill $20 million. Drew Brees can't throw the ball more than 6 yards. It's time to get creative. Taysom Hill has 2 carries. 2 carries. 2. Hey, Sean, I understand that we don't need Taysom Hill to have 20 carries a game, but maybe expand the playbook a little bit if Drew Brees seriously can't make plays more than 10 yards down the field. What are we now? What are the Saints now? Are the Saints a team now where they have to win games 21-0? They have to win the games 21-17? Or the defense has to score? Are we the Vikings now? Are we a team where if we go behind, we're screwed because Brees can't throw us back into the game? Is that what we are? Are we now a defense-oriented team? That's what it looks like. But it's hard to be a defense-oriented team when you let Darren Waller have 12 receptions on 16 targets for 103 yards. How are we a defensive team if that stuff's happening? And something else about the Saints that drives me crazy. The Saints, all you hear all the time is, oh, the Saints get screwed by the refs. Oh, well, this happens. The Saints have the referees. The Saints can't keep having 100-plus yards of penalty yards every game and blame the refs. This game ended on a penalty. A bad penalty. A penalty that probably shouldn't have been called, maybe. But he definitely, the defensive back definitely hooked the arm. I'm not saying that the Saints, all the penalties are real. But I'm so tired of hearing that the Saints get penalized, the Saints get this, the referees are against us, the Saints they get unlucky. Maybe the defensive backs just need to relax. Maybe these defensive players need to quit getting so many damn penalties called against them. So many of these Raiders points were because the Saints extended their drives with penalties. At some point, it's got to be a player's thing. At some point, it's got to be a coaching thing. I don't get this team. I really don't. Because we're supposed to be this great defense. We're supposed to be this high-powered offense. And we're not either. We're not a great defense. We're not this great offense. 1 week we're seeing Marshawn Lattimore hold Mike Evans to basically no catches. We're seeing the defense hawk all over the place and get turnovers and all this. And then the very next week, they let one player kick their ass. Let me read the targets from the Las Vegas Raiders receiving corps. Darren Waller, 16 targets. The next highest person had 3. 3, 2, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. Hey, coaching staff, maybe cover Darren Waller. What are we doing? What are we doing? The Saints, I don't want to be a knee-jerk reaction here, but the Saints look so pedestrian, so bad. They are so boring. This team, this isn't even close to a good offense. This isn't even close to a high-powered offense. This isn't even close to an expansive offense. I don't know if it's Breeze. I don't know if it's Sean Payton, but this ain't it. I mean, if Taysom Hill has to have 5 or 6 passes a game, if he has to have 10 carries and all of a sudden we're doing these weird wildcat things, change the offense. Change something. Make a decision. But I can't sit here and watch for the rest of the season for 15 more weeks. I can't sit here and watch Drew Brees throw crossing routes for 3 hours and miss wide open receivers all over the place. I mean, Derek Carr is awful, and Derek Carr outplayed Drew Brees the entire game. And the only reason that the Saints are 1-1 is because of how bad Tampa was in week 1. I mean, we had multiple turnovers, blocked field goal, Tom Brady was ass, and the Saints win. How in the hell are the Saints supposed to be competitive with Kansas City, Seattle, anybody? Oh, Green Bay, Dallas. How are the Saints supposed to keep up with these teams that can score when we cannot complete passes for more than 10 yards? We cannot. I mean, I watched this game. This was nothing. I would love to see a chart for Drew Brees' completions. I'd be stunned if more than 5 or 10 yards down the field. It was all dump passes, all screens, all crossing routes. And yes, some of them, the players worked. Like Traquan Smith was extending a lot of plays. Kamara was extending a lot of plays. Sure. But what is this? What is this team? I mean, Mike Thomas, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they missed him a lot. The Saints were up 17 to 7 at one point. You know what I mean? This was the Raiders just blew them out. Blew them out. Once they started going, that was it. And the Saints had no adaptability, no evolution. They couldn't do anything with Waller. They never tried to do anything different on offense. It was awful. I mean, this performance right here is one of the worst performances I've seen from the New Orleans Saints in the last probably 5 years. This was so embarrassing. And now let me slow down here. With that being said, I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter saying that it's time for Jameis Winston. It's not time for Jameis Winston. You do not sit Drew Brees if he's healthy. Bottom line. Have you seen the movie Titanic? At the very end of Titanic, when the captain goes back into his captain's quarters and he's going down with the ship and the icy waters crush through the windows and he is swept to the bottom, he's swept to the abyss. We are that captain now. We cannot say, all right, yeah, Jameis Winston, get in there, bro. That ain't it. That's not it right now. You do not sit Drew Brees if Drew Brees is healthy. Now, if Drew Brees is not healthy, if Drew Brees comes back from some kind of evaluation and the coaches say, look, Drew Brees literally can't throw the ball more than 5 yards, his arm is shot, sure, start Jameis Winston. But it ain't the move right now. So I don't want to hear the knee-jerk reaction is sit Brees. That's not even an option. Okay? Too many people I'm seeing are throwing that around. I'm here to tell you, as much as I'm unhappy with this team, as much as I'm unhappy with this offense, as much as I'm unhappy with Drew Brees, you don't sit him. So if you don't sit him, what's the rest of the season look like? Does Brees heat up? Does Brees get better? Because these first 2 games, he's been total garbage. He's been awful. He can't throw the ball downfield. He's inaccurate. Really bad stuff. And I'll say this. As much as I'm putting this on Drew Brees and Sean Payton, the defense has to get their life together too. I can't stand how much I hear about how great Marshawn Lattimore is, how great Malcolm Jenkins is, and then they get that ass lit up every single week. Marshawn Lattimore has these moments where he's the best cornerback in the game, i.e. last week. And then he has moments like this week where it's like, hey, man, are you even on the field? This team is too inconsistent on defense and too consistently bad on offense to do anything. I guess this is the best team in the NFC South because the NFC South all of a sudden is the worst division in football. The Falcons suck, the Panthers suck, the Bucs suck. So I guess the Saints are going to win the division by default, but that's it. If you think this team is an NFC championship team, if you think this team is a Super Bowl team after watching the first 2 games, get your ass off Bourbon Street to quit drinking Hurricanes. Put down the drinks because this is not through the first 2 weeks of the season. There is no reason this team can't turn it around. They obviously have the talent. A few years ago, after they got demolished by New England at home, when we had Adrian Peterson, before we kind of moved the team around and started to get Kamara involved and all that, I gave the same speech. So I'm not saying that they can't turn it around. If this team turns it around and Drew Brees stretches out his arm and all of a sudden Drew Brees can throw the football for, 15 yards, maybe this team can make some noise. If the defensive backs quit getting penalties on every single possession, maybe this team can compete. But how the fuck are we supposed to sit here and say, yeah, this team's on par with Seattle? I watched Russell Wilson play, and then the very next night I watched Drew Brees play. They might as well have been in different sports. There is not even a comparison between Russell Wilson and Drew Brees. Drew Brees, look, I'm not going to say that Drew Brees is washed. But these first 2 games are as bad as Drew Brees has ever looked in his career. So I need to know what's going to happen with this team. If you tell me, I'll give you this. If you tell me that Drew Brees will play exactly like this for the next 15 games, and this is the season, I'd be stunned if the Saints win 9 games. Now, if Drew Brees figures it out, sure. And this ain't just on Drew Brees. Sean Payton. Hey, Sean. Why is Taysom Hill getting 2 carries? How does that make any sense? It's so inconsistent. It drives me crazy as a Saints fan. I have to watch some games where Taysom Hill gets 16 touches and Taysom Hill's throwing the ball on 3rd down, or Taysom Hill's running the ball on 4th and 2 from the 2. And then a game like this where Brees is obviously struggling, where Brees is obviously bad, where Brees obviously doesn't have it, and all of a sudden Taysom Hill isn't on the field. Taysom Hill gets no targets and 2 carries. Sean, did you not print out the rest of your play sheet? I mean, I really don't get it. What's the difference between this game and every other game with Taysom Hill? Does Sean Payton just wake up and say, all right, this game, we're just not going to use Taysom at all? Sean, you're losing. You're not moving the ball whatsoever. You're not doing anything. Get him involved. Let him throw it. Do whatever you got to do. Do something different. But watching Drew Brees throw 4-yard out routes ain't the move. It's just so mind-numbingly aggravating to watch this team. These are exactly the games that make it hard to be a Saints fan. When you're sitting and you're like, all right, well, 17-7, we're looking pretty good. And then the Raiders just beat the brakes off of you for the remaining 2 hours of the game because you can't stop Darren Waller. Why do we have Malcolm Jenkins, Marshawn Lattimore, and Demario Davis? You can't stop one guy? 16 targets. And I'll say this, too, about the Raiders. John Gruden made some really stupid calls in this game. Really stupid calls. The touchdown from Jalen Richard, it's 3rd and 10, and you're on the 20. And he calls a halfback draw that they end up scoring because of the Saints. But what kind of call is that? What kind of call is 3rd and 10 to run the football? Are you that conservative? Are you that scared about throwing the ball that you're running on 3rd and 10 from the 20? And yeah, you score, but how is that the right call? And then at the end of the game, there's a minute left. You're up by 7. Drew Brees hasn't done anything. And now you're asking your kicker to make a career long from 54, or you give the Saints the ball with a minute left for the 50? I mean, John Gruden I think just shit down his leg the whole night. I was so unimpressed with him coaching-wise. I thought he was terrible. I really did. I thought he was awful. I mean, the Saints were so bad that it didn't matter. But God, Gruden? I know Gruden is an old coach. I know Gruden is certainly not a progressive coach, and he's a guy. I mean, he won the Super Bowl in 2003. But if I'm the Raiders, I would not be happy with what I saw from Gruden either. Derek Carr, he heated up a little bit. I thought he was pretty bad at the beginning of the game. He doesn't handle pressure well at all. This team goes as far as Josh Jacobs will take them, I guess. And it's not even like he was great. He averaged 3 yards on the ground. They pounded the run. I mean, 27 carries. I think the Raiders are a super boring team as far as like their game plans and how Gruden handles the offense. I think Carr, I mean, I think he's okay in spots, but I think his clock is all wrong. I mean, you saw him roll into pressure a few times. He had no idea where the blitz was coming from. He missed a lot of receivers. I'm not sure if he's not making his progressions. I don't think this is a great win for the Raiders. I mean, they're 2-0. And they won by 10 against the Saints team, but I just think they made a lot of mistakes too. It's just the Saints couldn't do anything. The Saints could literally not do anything. And you can't when your quarterback can only make 4-yard passes. I mean, I would love to have the possession. We were down 10, the last possession, and I'm watching Drew Brees just dump the ball off for 3 yards. It's insane. Really bad stuff from the Saints. Really bad stuff.